this game will show a side of Carlsen play that a world #1 really needs. Some would call this luck, but others like 𝐎𝐩𝐴 Capablanca would say that a winner is always lucky. Magnus is playing black in this game against 𝐻𝐸𝐴, and Carlsen tries to enter an open Spanish in a Berlin move order, but 𝐻𝐸𝐴 is well prepared. 𝐻𝐸𝐴 starts out e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop b5, knight f6, the start of the dreaded Berlin defense, castle kingside, knight takes e4, d4, and a6. a6 signifies that he's not prepared for the Berlin endgame, which would have arisen after knight d6. He's actually inviting 𝐻𝐸𝐴 to enter the open Spanish. Personally, I really love move orders in chess like these, and it's one of these things that separate masters from mortals. Bishop takes c6, and this means the invitation is declined, and rightly so, because this line is actually quite dangerous for black. D takes c6, queen e2, 𝐻𝐸𝐴 plays right again, bishop f5, rook e1. At the time this was a very rare move. It threatens to win 2 pieces for the rook with queen d3, and Magnus is also out of book here, so that's kind of a tight spot he's finding himself in. Bishop b4, this is a novelty he makes, but he got too creative, and it's going from bad to worse here. After c3, bishop d6, queen c2, now winning the rook against the 2 pieces, or winning 2 pieces against the rook. It's how you consider it to be. Queen d7, d takes e5, bishop c5, so also a pawn was taken back there. Rook takes e4, white wins material here, and the position should actually already be winning for white. Now, let's watch closely how Magnus actually manages to turn the tables. Castle queenside, knight bd2, queen d5, putting some pressure on the center again. And here 𝐻𝐸𝐴 finds the right move, king f1, rook h e8, and now all black pieces are active. White still needs some time, but when that happens, he will be in a good shape. This is the first moment where Vasily is actually making small mistakes. His first inaccuracy is b3. So one of the ways to ruin a good position is by relaxing and thinking you will win even if you do not play the very, very best moves. I don't know if that's here the case totally, but c4 would have been better, because you always need time to fight for the center, and if you're going to fight for the center like that, you need to do it fast. g5, trying to fight for the center by removing the knight from f3. Bishop b2. Again, Vasily should have played c4, and it's actually getting closer to an equal position again, whereas before it was completely winning. g4, knight d4. This is an important moment in the game. I would like for you to choose between 2 variations, and it's important that you will visualize these variations and evaluate the resulting positions in your mind. So variation 1 is bishop takes d4, c takes d4, and c5. And variation 2 is bishop takes e4, queen takes e4, queen takes e4, knight takes e4, rook takes e5, knight takes e5, and rook takes c5. So evaluate these positions, pause pause the video here and evaluate those positions in your mind. If it's too hard to visualize, I can imagine, you can also use your own chess set and put the positions on there and try to evaluate it there. So pause the video right now. Magnus played bishop takes, suspense, d4. Bishop takes d4. I hope that you found that this is objectively not the very best decision, because the position after bishop takes e4, queen takes e4, queen takes e4, knight takes e4, rook takes c5, e5, knight takes e5, rook takes e5 might be a little better, but it's also very easy for white to play this position. And so the plans are easy, and that's probably why Carlsen disliked this position. I mean, the only pawn that Carlsen is up for the two pieces against the rook is actually a double pawn, and I think this is already close to losing in the long term. So Carlsen decides to complicate matters with bishop takes d4. C takes d4, c5, rook a e1, c takes d4, and this position is actually quite annoying to play for white. Eventually, 𝐎𝐻𝐸𝐽𝐻 tries to simplify the position where he should not have done that. So he plays queen c4, and after this move, Magnus is actually able to reach an equal endgame, and which is not bad after such a big opening catastrophe. Play continues. Bishop takes e4, rook takes e4, rook takes e5, rook takes g4, rook d e8, knight f3, queen takes e4 check, b takes e4, rook e2, bishop takes d4, rook takes a2. This was all more or less forced, and now we have a endgame which is hard to evaluate beforehand, especially like 7 moves later. But the beauty about Magnus's style is that he probably already saw that white is in trouble here. The computer doesn't see that yet, but he's getting there. So after rook g7, a5, as you can see, the a pawn is faster than white's kingside pawns. Rook takes f7, rook c2, g4, a4, g5, a3, rook takes h7, a2, rook h8, rook takes h8, bishop takes h8, rook takes c4. It's not possible to immediately win, but the rook takes c4 move is actually a planned move, which is quite beautiful, because after h3, trying to kick the rook out from g4, now black has c5, and that's a clever move, threatening rook d4. There's only one move here for white to defend, which is knight d2, but he didn't find it. 𝐎𝐻𝐸𝐽𝐻 played knight e1 and crumbled. Rook c1, g6, king d7, and now suddenly it is Carlsen who's winning, because the king is actually going into the square of the pawn, because g7 is not possible yet. Bishop b2, king e6, h4, c4, h5, c3, bishop takes c1, a1 queen, knight d3, and white resigned. In this game, we saw how Carlsen now makes the right psychological decisions as well, not going for easy, slightly worse endgames at that point with bishop takes e4 and bishop takes d4. He chose to complicate more and take more risks against an 𝐻𝐸𝐽𝐻, who's also like a world-class player, and he gets away with it. He even wins the game after playing such a bad opening, and that's what a winner really needs. And I think this combines the topic to see how he got to world number 1. See you in the next block.